What if everything you've ever dreamed of, every whisper of desire in your heart, wasn't just fantasy, but a message? A map left by the universe itself, guiding you toward a treasure only you can claim. Imagine discovering that the life you're living right now might only be the prologue, and that fate is waiting for you in the most unexpected places. That's the journey of a young shepherd boy in Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist, a journey that begins with a simple dream, but could end with everything he's ever wanted, or nothing at all.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to BookPodCastZone.
Hi, all. We are really excited to have you with us today. We're diving deep into Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist. It's about philosophy, sure, but also fate and, really chasing down your purpose. I'm Emma.
And I'm John. It's great to be here.
Yeah, ready to get into this. It seems simple on the surface, but there's just so much packed in there.
Absolutely. And that's our mission today, isn't it? It's pretty ambitious. We're using these detailed chapter summaries of The Alchemist as our guide.
Right. But this isn't just like a standard book review. We want this to be a roadmap, a really extended, practical conversation about destiny, about motivation, and that big central idea, pursuing your personal legend.
Exactly. We're kind of aiming to give you the shortcut here. You don't need to reread the whole novel right now, though it's always worth it.
Oh, definitely.
But today, we're trying to pull out the core wisdom, the real nuts and bolts of how things like commitment, recognizing omens, and building resilience actually work in practice, according to Coelho's philosophy.
We want you, listening right now, to see Santiago's story less as just fiction and more like a map. A direct map to those desires maybe you haven't even fully admitted to yourself yet.
Yeah, the hidden ones, the ones that whisper.
Exactly. So we're diving into the narrative secrets, pulling out maybe some surprising facts or connections, and really focusing on those key turning points. The moments that take this from a simple adventure story to something much more like a life-changing philosophy.
And interestingly, we don't start with Santiago, the shepherd boy hero.
No, we start somewhere unexpected. With a Narcissus.
Right, that prologue. It sets the stage in such a fascinating way.
So Coelho throws open the door to this world of enchantment with a story most of us think we know, the Narcissus myth.
The classic version.
Right. The classic version tells us Narcissus, sees his reflection in a lake, falls completely in love with himself, and basically just wastes away staring at it. A cautionary tale about vanity. Pretty straightforward.
Super straightforward. But Coelho, right from page 1, he flips it. He reframes it completely. And that's the genius of this prologue, why it sets the tone so perfectly for everything that follows.
How does he flip it?
Well, the summary points this out. He tells the story from the lake's point of view. The lake itself is weeping after Narcissus dies.
Okay, so the lake misses him. That seems sentimental.
Ah, but why does it miss him? That's the twist. The lake isn't weeping because Narcissus, the beautiful boy, is gone. It's weeping because, as it says, when Narcissus knelt by its banks, the lake could see its own beauty reflected in Narcissus's eyes.
Wow. Okay, that changes everything. So it's not about Narcissus's vanity at all.
Not primarily, no. The emotional core shifts instantly. It moves from self-absorbed vanity to this idea of mutual reflection, of connection. Narcissus only saw himself locked in his own image. But the lake experienced its own beauty, its own essence, through the connection with Narcissus.
So the sadness, the ache the source mentions, isn't about losing the object of beauty. It's about losing the mirror, losing that shared moment of seeing and being seen.
Precisely. It's about the loss of that deep reciprocal connection. And that immediately sets up this core theme for the entire book, this idea about how we seek validation and understanding. It's a warning right at the beginning.
A warning against what?
Against chasing those superficial reflections. Think about it. We often look for validation that just confirms our surface image, our ego, like, getting likes on a photo or someone complimenting your clothes, surface stuff. But Coelho seems to be saying that's the wrong reflection to chase. What we should be seeking is that deeper connection, the kind the lake had, where something essential about our soul, our purpose, is mirrored back to us.
So the key idea being established right away is that beauty itself isn't just like a pretty surface. It's the world calling out for connection. When we see something beautiful, a sunset, a piece of art, maybe even another person, it's not just demanding admiration.
It's initiating a dialogue. It's offering a chance for that mutual reflection, that mirroring the lake lost. It's asking, what do you see of yourself in me? And what do I see of myself in you?
That feels incredibly relevant now. The source material mentions the fast scroll world of 2025.
Yeah, and think about that connection to contemporary American life, for instance, We are absolutely swimming in reflections. But are they the right kind? Think about the relentless scrolling through Instagram, TikTok. Perfectly curated images, superficial highlights.
It's endless comparison.
Endless comparison and a constant chase for that fleeting external validation. The number of followers, the likes, the comments. It's Narcissus on a global scale, maybe. We're seeking that immediate reflection, that dopamine hit of engagement, rather than, taking the time for the deep self-reflection that actually mirrors our soul, our real purpose.
So this prologue, it's like Coelho doing a swipe left, as the source says, on that whole superficial culture.
Exactly. It's a spiritual swipe left. He's asking you, the reader, right from the start, are you going to be Narcissus, perhaps staring at your own idealized image? Or are you going to be like the lake, seeking and valuing the beauty found in genuine reciprocal connection?
That really lands differently. It reframes the whole quest before it even begins.
It plants that philosophical seed. Myths aren't just old stories collecting dust. They're active, they're alive, they're maps. Maps to our own hidden depths, our hidden desires. And the Scrutiny map tells us, look deeper. Look for connection, not just reflection. That's the ground Santiago's journey is built on.
A really powerful starting point. It makes you rethink everything that follows.
It does. It really does.
Like, subscribe, and share for more update, and continue to next. Hashtag tag 1.2 sheep, stars, and a recurring whisper, Santiago's life and the dream. Okay, so after that thought-provoking prologue, we finally meet our protagonist, Santiago. He's a young shepherd in Andalusia, Spain, and his life seems, well, idyllic almost.
On the surface, yeah. Simple, comfortable. He's made choices. He actually gave up studying to be a priest, sold his books, specifically chose the shepherd's life for its freedom, its independence.
He likes the travel, the connection to nature, the lack of ties.
Right. He knows his sheep, he knows the paths, he sleeps under the stars. There's a predictability, a rhythm to it that he seems content with.
Seems content. But then something disrupts that peaceful rhythm.
Violently disrupts it, almost. It's this recurring dream, a dream about finding buried treasure, gold, near the pyramids in Egypt.
A pretty specific and kind of outlandish dream for a shepherd in Spain.
Totally outlandish. And it doesn't just happen once, it keeps coming back. This isn't just a random nighttime fantasy. Coelho presents it as something more profound. It's the first whisper of destiny, the initial disruption.
And this is where we see the first real internal conflict, right? The emotional turning point described in the source.
Exactly. It's that first stir of real unease, that moment where contentment starts to feel maybe a little hollow. You can almost feel Santiago in that breathless moment, weighing things up. He has comfort, security, his familiar flock, everything he thought he wanted.
But then there's this dream, this pull towards, what? Curiosity, adventure, the unknown.
It's that powerful what if. What if this dream means something? What if there's treasure? What if this simple life isn't the whole story for him? He has to decide if he's willing to trade the tangible comfort he possesses for this intangible, maybe impossible possibility.
And this immediately brings up what the source calls the first major psychological antagonist, complacency.
Oh, absolutely. Complacency is the enemy of the personal legend throughout the book. And the key idea here is how our everyday routines, the very things that make us feel safe and secure, can act like blinders.
Blinders? How so?
They keep us focused on the familiar, the path directly ahead. We stop looking around. We stop noticing the subtle signs, the omens that might be calling us towards something different, something bigger. Stability. Financial stability, social stability, the comfort of the known, paradoxically. That's often what breeds the deepest complacency.
It makes sense. Change is scary. Why rock the boat if it feels safe?
And that's the fundamental human resistance, isn't it? Why do we fight change so hard even when there's this inner voice, this destiny, whispering, or sometimes, as the book shows later, shouting at us? Because comfort feels like survival. For Santiago, those sheep aren't just animals. They're his livelihood, his identity, his predictable future.
Giving them up is terrifying. It means stepping into complete uncertainty, no safety net.
Right. And let's connect this to that 2025 context again, maybe digging into that U.S. analogy a bit more. Think about someone, say, in their late 30s or early 40s. They've climbed the corporate ladder, got the nice house in the suburbs, the reliable car, the 401k ticking along. They've achieved the American dream.
The standard definition, yeah.
But maybe there's that recurring whisper, that old dream of starting their own business or moving to the mountains to write or joining the Peace Corps, something totally off the established track. That's their pyramid dream.
And the sheep are the stable job, the mortgage, the comfortable salary, the respectability.
Exactly. The golden cage, as the source puts it. Selling those sheep means liquidating that perceived security. It means facing potential judgment from peers, family. It means risking failure. And crucially, they aren't usually miserable in the cage. They're just unfulfilled.
Yeah.
Numb, maybe.
That feeling of being comfortably numb.
Precisely. And the perceived risk of losing the known comfort almost always feels greater, more immediate, than the potential reward of the unknown dream. So they stay put. They ignore the whisper.
Until something forces them to listen, maybe.
Or until they make the conscious choice, like Santiago starts to contemplate. The real adventure, Coelho shows us, doesn't begin with the dream itself. It begins the moment Santiago actively questions the comfort of his familiar life. He grounds the character in this incredibly relatable tension. We feel that pull the pull of a destiny that's been there all along, under the same stars he always slept under.
So the first step isn't finding treasure. It's admitting the life you've built, however safe, might not be the one you're truly meant to live.
That acknowledgement is huge. That quiet moment of contemplation, considering abandoning comfort, that's often the hardest part of any big life change, of any personal legend.
It's the internal barrier you have to cross before you can even think about the external journey.
Nailed it. That's the gatekeeper.
Like, subscribe, and share for more update and continue to next. Hashtag tag 1.3, The Gypsy's Grin and Pyramid Promises, Meeting the Dream Interpreter. Okay, so Santiago has this recurring dream, this growing unease with his comfortable life. What's the next step? He doesn't just sit with it.
No, and this is crucial. He takes his first, small, but incredibly proactive and courageous step. He decides to seek external input. He goes to Tarifa to find a gypsy woman known for interpreting dreams.
He actually shares this weird private dream with a stranger. That takes guts.
It really does.
Yeah.
He's making himself vulnerable, opening himself up to potential ridicule or dismissal. But he needs clarity. And what he gets from this weathered gypsy woman is fascinating.
Does she give him detailed instructions? A map?
Not really. Her reaction is simple, almost dismissive at first, but then she gives this knowing smile. And she doesn't just interpret the dream in some mystical way, she validates it. She basically says, yes, this dream about treasure at the pyramids is real. Go find it.
Wow. Just like that.
Pretty much. And that moment, her simple validation, acts as a powerful catalyst. It pushes Santiago from just thinking about the dream, contemplating it, into the realm of potential action.
So the emotional turning point here is that shift from internal doubt to external confirmation.
Absolutely. Think about that raw tug-of-war inside him. He's got this persistent doubt. Is this just a silly dream? Am I crazy for even considering this? Battling against this growing excitement and curiosity, the gypsy's confirmation tips the scales.
It takes his vague hunch, that recurring image, and turns it into something tangible, like an actual signpost pointing the way.
Exactly. It's like the external world suddenly echoes his internal world. It provides that little nudge, that permission slip almost, to take the dream seriously. It's the leap into the unknown when your private intuition gets a nod from the outside.
This brings up a really interesting key idea from the source: strangers as signposts.
Yes, this is fundamental to how omens often work in the book. Seemingly random encounters, people who have no personal stake in your life or your comfort zone, can sometimes offer the most profound guidance.
Why strangers specifically?
Well, think about it. People who know you well often have biases. They might want to protect you, keep you safe, maintain the status quo. A stranger doesn't have that baggage. They react to the energy, the possibility you present, often more clearly. They can sometimes see the potential or the obvious next step that you and your loved ones are too close to recognize.
That connects to what the source mentioned about our modern search for external validation, right? The viral TikTok prophecies or seeking advice from life coaches.
Totally. We live in an era awash with information and advice, constantly seeking that external hit of clarity. People pay fortunes for gurus or coaches, or scroll endlessly hoping for that one random video that speaks directly to their situation.
The gypsy is like the original lo-fi version of that.
She's the archetype. She
Yeah.
provides that spark. Think about the U.S. analogy again. Maybe someone's been stuck in a rut for years, complaining about their job. They have one intense, honest conversation with a stranger on a plane, someone they'll never see again.
And that stranger just asks one piercing question or shares one observation.
And boom. Suddenly, years of internal fog lift. That stranger acted as the gypsy, confirming a path the person dimly suspected but was afraid to acknowledge. It's the power of objective perspective.
But the gypsy doesn't just give free advice, does she?
No, and this is critical. She makes a demand. She interprets the dream, validates the quest, but says, You must promise me 1/10 of the treasure when you find it.
Ah, so there's a price, a commitment required.
Yes. It's not just about receiving wisdom, it's about investing in the outcome. Her demand forces Santiago to take the possibility of success seriously, to acknowledge the potential reward. If you're not willing to mentally commit a portion of the future gain, are you really committed to the journey? It's a subtle but powerful psychological contract.
So her wisdom isn't just a blessing, it's a thread of fate he has to grasp. It invites him to trust these external voices that echo his inner potential.
Precisely. This small act of sharing the dream and accepting her condition is the first massive step away from the complacency of his flock, away from the predictable life. It primes him.
Primes him for what comes next, because this feels like just the beginning.
It is. The gypsy confirms the dream, but she doesn't provide the how. That requires a different kind of encounter altogether. She sets the stage for the arrival of the true architect of the journey, the one who explains the rules of the game.
Okay, I'm hooked. Who does he meet next?
He meets a king.
Like, subscribe, and share for more update, and continue to next.
Okay, so Santiago's just had his dream validated by the gypsy, but he's probably still hesitant, right? Confused about what to actually do.
Exactly. He's sitting on a bench in the plaza, wrestling with the decision, sell the sheep or stay safe. And right at this peak moment of indecision, this mysterious old man approaches him. He introduces himself as Melchizedek, the king of Salem.
King of Salem, that sounds biblical, significant.
It is. Melchizedek is this ancient, almost mythical figure appearing throughout history to help people on the verge of pursuing their destiny. He's not just some random old guy. He knows about Santiago's dream, his dilemma, even things Santiago hasn't told anyone.
Okay, that's intense. What does he offer him? He doesn't just offer advice. He introduces Santiago to the core concept of the entire book, the personal legend. He tells Santiago that everyone, when they are young, knows what their personal legend is.
What is the personal legend exactly? Is it just a goal?
It's more than a goal. It's your unique purpose in life, the path your soul yearns to follow, the thing you were put on earth to accomplish. It's identified by your enthusiasm, by what you truly love doing. And Melchizedek's mission, he says, is to appear when someone is about to give up on theirs.
Wow, so he's like a spiritual interventionist.
Kind of, yeah. And he doesn't just talk philosophy. He gives Santiago two tangible things, a challenge and a gift. The challenge is to give him 1/10 of his sheep now, in exchange for crucial information.
So another demand for upfront commitment, like the gypsy.
Even more immediate this time. Sacrifice the present security for future wisdom. And the gift. It's 2 stones, Urim and Thummim. 1 black, 1 white.
The source called them future reading stones. Is that what they do?
Not exactly fortune-telling. Melchizedek explains they help with objective decisions when Santiago is struggling to read the omens. Urim, the white stone, means yes. Thummim, the black stone, means no.
So they're like a divine yes-no tool, a fail-safe for his intuition.
Precisely. They're a way to get a clear answer when fear or confusion clouds his judgment. But the king warns him, try to make your own decisions first. Use the stones only when necessary. They reinforce the idea that guidance is available, but the journey requires Santiago's active participation and learning.
This whole encounter feels like the major turning point. The source calls it igniting a fire of purpose.
It absolutely is. Melchizedek's challenge, his explanation of the personal legend, it shifts everything for Santiago. The lingering fear and confusion don't vanish entirely, but they're overshadowed by this sudden fierce determination. He's been seen, named, validated, and equipped by someone who clearly understands the deeper workings of the universe. He's not just a shepherd with a weird dream anymore. He's someone with a personal legend.
And this introduces that huge central idea, maktub, the universe conspires.
Yes. Melchizedek explicitly tells Santiago, when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. This is the bedrock philosophy of the alchemist.
But what does that mean, practically speaking? Does stuff just magically fall into your lap? Because that sounds a little too easy.
Right, and that's a common misunderstanding. It's not passive wishful thinking. The conspiring part only kicks in after you commit, after you sell the sheep. It's about alignment. When you fully commit to your personal legend, you change your frequency, your focus.
So you start noticing things differently.
Exactly. You start seeing connections, synchronicities, opportunities that were invisible before because your energy was scattered or focused on maintaining the status quo. The universe doesn't just hand you the treasure on a platter. It ensures you meet the right people, like Melchizedek, like the gypsy. It provides the necessary lessons, the resources, the challenges, and yes, the omens to guide you along the path you've chosen.
It's a co-creative process then. You act, the universe responds.
Perfectly put. It's a dialogue. And Melchizedek is the one who teaches Santiago the basic grammar of that dialogue.
Connecting this to the modern context, the source mentions 2025's hustle for side gigs and dreams deferred. This feels like the antidote to that paralysis.
It really does. So many people feel stuck, juggling multiple things, afraid to go all in on the one thing that truly calls to them. Melchizedek's appearance is like that cosmic nudge the source mentions, but maybe even stronger.
Like the ultimate intervention. Think about that U.S. analogy, the aspiring Silicon Valley entrepreneur. They've been tinkering, maybe working a day job, hesitant.
Right, but the moment they quit the safe job, liquidate their savings, and truly commit 100% to that risky startup, that's when Melchizedek shows up, metaphorically speaking.
Suddenly, that random coffee meeting leads to seed funding, or an old friend connects them with the perfect co-founder, or they stumble upon a solution to a problem that's been blocking them for months.
Those aren't just coincidences, according to this philosophy. That's the universe responding to the commitment. Melchizedek is that spark, that divine mischief, as the source says, that confirms you're on the right track and gives you the initial tools like Urim and Thummim to navigate the inevitable uncertainty.
So he lights the way, provides the framework, and essentially pushes Santiago off the cliff.
He provides the final push, yes, and Santiago takes the leap.
Like, subscribe, and share for more update and continue to next. Hashtag 2.2 farewell to flocks and Tangier tides. The leap to Africa. Okay, Santiago's met the king. He's got the stones. He understands his personal legend. He actually does it. He sells his beloved sheep.
He does. All of them. It's a massive act of faith, severing ties with his entire past life based on a dream, a gypsy's word, and an encounter with a mysterious old king. He takes the money and makes the physical leap.
Crosses the Strait of Gibraltar, from Spain to Tangier, Morocco, Europe to Africa. It's a huge geographical and cultural shift.
Enormous. He arrives in this bustling, chaotic, completely foreign city, doesn't speak the language, knows no one. It's exhilarating, but also terrifyingly vulnerable.
And this is where the universe immediately tests that commitment, right? No gentle introduction to the journey.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Almost immediately after arriving, brimming with hope and clutching his money, he trusts someone he thinks is a new friend, a guide. And the guy runs off with all his money, every last bit of it, gone. Just like that.
Oh my God. Stranded, penniless, alone. In a foreign country where he can't even ask for help properly.
Exactly. It's brutal. This is the emotional turning point the source describes as hitting rock bottom in a bustling market. That initial high, the excitement of embarking on the personal legend, just crashes down.
It's not just the loss of money, it's the betrayal, isn't it? The shattering of that initial trust in the world, in the journey.
Absolutely. The sting of loss, the salt in the wound, as the source puts it. It would be so easy, so understandable for him to just give up right then and there, to curse Melchizedek, curse the dream, and try to find a way back home, tail between his legs.
But he doesn't.
He doesn't. He weeps, he despairs, but then something shifts. That survival instinct kicks in. He realizes he can either see himself as a victim of a cruel world or as an adventurer facing an unexpected challenge. He chooses the latter.
And this illustrates that key idea. Setbacks are the universe's tough love lessons.
Yes. This isn't punishment. According to the book's logic, this devastating setback is designed to forge something essential in him, to refine the gold within.
Why is failure, especially right at the start, so necessary? Couldn't the universe have been a bit nicer?
Maybe, but would he have learned as much? Think about it. If he'd sailed smoothly from Tangier to Egypt, guided by helpful strangers, he would have arrived in the pyramids still essentially the same naive shepherd boy who just got lucky.
Right. He wouldn't have needed to adapt or grow.
Exactly. The theft forces him to learn Arabic. It forces him to understand commerce, hard work, deception, and resilience in a way he never would have otherwise. He has to rely solely on himself, on his wits, on his willingness to work and observe. The journey is immediately testing the depth of that commitment he made back in the plaza. Talk is cheap. Selling the sheep was step one. Surviving this is step two.
This feels incredibly real. It echoes the experience of anyone who's taken a big leap, moved somewhere new, started something daunting.
Totally. Think about those global wanderers, the digital nomads the source mentions. They land in a new country, excited, maybe a bit naive, and bam, culture shock hits hard. Maybe they get scammed. Maybe they face unexpected bureaucratic nightmares or loneliness.
We'll bring it back to that U.S. analogy, the young person moving to NYC or L.A. for that creative dream.
Yeah, imagine them arriving, bright-eyed, maybe with just enough cash saved for a few months. They find an apartment online, wire the deposit, and it turns out to be a complete scam. They're out thousands, sleeping on a friend's couch, working grueling minimum wage jobs just to eat, questioning every decision they made.
That period of intense struggle, the grit required just to survive and claw your way back.
That's the forge. That initial heartbreak, that feeling of being completely overwhelmed and screwed over, it either breaks you or it builds an unshakable core of resilience. It teaches you street smarts, resourcefulness, humility. Those who get through it are transformed. They've earned their place in that challenging environment.
So the fall isn't a signal to retreat or give up. It's the necessary pressure that starts to shape the unshakable self.
Coelho thrusts us, and Santiago, right into that heartbreak to show us exactly that. The path to the personal legend isn't paved with gold from the start. It's paved with tests designed to see if you're truly worthy of the treasure you seek. He has to turn that pain into fuel.
So what does he do? How does he get back on his feet?
He finds work in a crystal shop.
Like, subscribe, and share for more update, and continue to next. Hashtag tag 2.3 Crystal Dreams in the Merchant Shop. Life with the Crystal Merchant. Okay, so Santiago's hit rock bottom, lost everything, but he decides to push forward. He finds work cleaning crystals for a local merchant.
Yes, a crystal merchant who owns a shop that's seen better days. It's kind of dusty. On a hill, people don't climb much anymore. Santiago offers to clean the crystals in exchange for food.
Just basic survival at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he does such a good job, makes the crystals sparkle so much, the customers start noticing again. The merchant, initially very cautious and set in his ways, recognizes Santiago's drive and offers him a job.
So Santiago ends up staying there for a while.
For almost a whole year, actually. He learns the crystal business, learns Arabic fluently, learns about commerce, saves money diligently. He's not just surviving anymore. He's actively rebuilding, working towards earning enough money to buy sheep again and maybe go home.
Wait, go home. Has he given up on the pyramids?
The dream is still there. But the immediate goal becomes regaining what he lost, getting back to a place of security. But crucially, while he's polishing these glass crystals, he's also, as the source says, polishing his own ambitions. And he's learning a profound lesson from the merchant himself.
What kind of lesson? The merchant seems kind of stagnant.
He is, and that's the lesson. This section is a powerful study in contrast. The emotional turning point here isn't a dramatic event. It's this slow, dawning realization in Santiago and in the reader. It's the tender ache, the source calls it, of seeing potential squandered.
Squandered by the merchant.
Yes. The merchant have one lifelong dream, to make the pilgrimage to Mecca, the Hajj. It's the central pillar of his faith, his ultimate aspiration. He talks about it constantly.
Okay, so why hasn't he gone? He owns a shop. Presumably he could save up.
He could have, many times over. But he's afraid. Not afraid of the journey itself, but afraid of achieving the dream.
Afraid of success. That sounds counterintuitive.
It does, but it's a deeply human fear. The merchant explicitly tells Santiago that the dream of Mecca is what keeps him alive. It gives him purpose, something to look forward to. He fears that if he actually went, stood in the holy city, fulfilled his life's ambition, what then? What would he have left to live for?
Wow, so the dream itself became the destination, not Mecca.
Precisely. His fear of the potential emptiness after success keeps him trapped in the comfort of dreaming about it. And this embodies that key idea. Fear dims the shine. We usually focus on the fear of failure, but Coelho highlights this subtle, insidious fear of achieving our goals.
It's the fear of what next, the fear of losing your driving purpose once it's fulfilled.
Exactly, and it creates this comfortable stasis. The merchant shop is dusty, unchanging, because he himself refuses to change, refuses to risk the comfort of his unfulfilled dream. Santiago, meanwhile, even while working there, is full of ideas. Build a display case outside, sell tea in the crystal glasses to attract thirsty customers up the hill.
He's bringing life back into the place.
He is. He represents movement. Action, the willingness to take small risks for potential gain. One bold move polishes the soul, as the source puts it, while the merchant's constant hesitation keeps his own soul and his shop dim and contained.
This whole dynamic feels very relevant to modern work life, doesn't it? The source mentions the gig economy, polishing side hustles.
It resonates perfectly. Think about that U.S. analogy. The person with the stable, maybe slightly boring 9-to-5 job, but they have this passionate side hustle. Maybe they're crafting amazing furniture in their garage, or building a successful Etsy store, or coding an app on weekends.
They pour their heart into it, save up money from it.
Right? They accumulate enough capital, enough proof of concept, that they could realistically quit the day job and go all in on their passion project, their personal legend.
But they don't.
Often they don't, because the day job, however unfulfilling, represents security, health insurance, a steady paycheck, predictability. The fear isn't just, what if the business fails? It's also, sometimes subconsciously, what if it succeeds beyond my wildest dreams? Can I handle that pressure? Will it change me? Will I still be happy? It's the merchant's dilemma played out millions of times.
So the crystal shop becomes this crucial mirror, reflecting our own hesitations, our own tendencies to prioritize safety over fulfilling our potential.
Absolutely. The merchant is a vital cautionary tale. He's not a bad person. He's kind to Santiago. But he's chosen fear over faith, stagnation over pilgrimage. He teaches Santiago the practical skills of patience and commerce, which are essential.
But the deeper lesson is negative.
The deeper lesson is a warning. Don't become me. Don't confuse the dream with the destination. Don't let the comfort of wanting something replace the courageous act of pursuing it. The merchant represents the potential endpoint for Santiago if he were to just save up, buy his sheep, and go home, forgetting the pyramids.
So this year isn't wasted time. It's a necessary period of rebuilding, learning, and most importantly, seeing firsthand the soul-crushing alternative to pursuing his legend.
Exactly. It reignites his determination. He saves his money, but now the goal isn't just buying sheep. It's financing the next stage of his journey. He leaves the merchant, not with resentment, but with gratitude for the lessons and a renewed commitment to avoid the merchant's fate. He's ready for the desert.
Like, subscribe, and share for more update, and continue to next. Santiago's earned his money back, and then some. He's leaving the crystal shop with renewed purpose. He's not going back to Spain.
No, he's doubling down on the dream. He uses his savings to join a massive caravan that's preparing to cross the Sahara Desert towards Egypt. This is the next major leg of the physical journey.
The desert. That sounds like a whole new level of challenge.
It is. Vast, dangerous, unpredictable. But it's also a place of profound learning. And importantly, he's not alone this time. He's part of this huge, moving community.
And he meets someone significant in the caravan, right? The Englishman.
Yes. Almost immediately, he encounters this Englishman, who is also heading towards the oasis of El Fayoum, hoping to find a legendary alchemist, supposedly over 200 years old.
An alchemist, like turning lead into gold.
That's the popular idea,
Right.
but true alchemy, as the book portrays it, is much deeper. It's about purifying oneself, achieving the masterwork, understanding the language of the world, the soul of the world. The Englishman, however, approaches it purely intellectually.
How so?
He's completely buried in books. He has chests full of texts on alchemy, complex theories, ancient recipes. He believes the entire secret can be learned through reading and study. He barely looks up from his books during the entire desert crossing.
Okay, so we have a clear contrast being set up here.
A massive one. And this contrast highlights the key idea for this part of the journey. Heart over head. Or maybe experience over theory.
Santiago isn't reading books about the desert.
No. Santiago is learning the desert. He's watching the camel drivers, observing how they navigate by the stars, how they read the signs of the wind and sand. He's listening to the silence, trying to understand the language without words that the desert speaks. He's learning intuitively, through direct experience and observation.
While the Englishman is just reading descriptions of it.
Pretty much. He's trying to understand the soul of the world by dissecting texts, while Santiago's trying to feel it by immersing himself in the world. The Englishman represents the limitations of purely intellectual knowledge when it comes to profound wisdom.
This feels like a critique of a certain kind of academic approach, maybe.
It can definitely be read that way. It speaks to that tendency, especially in Western cultures, to sometimes overvalue theoretical knowledge. The degrees, the research papers, the book smarts over-applied, intuitive wisdom gained through doing, through living.
Let's flesh out that U.S. analogy the source mentions. The PhD researcher versus the field expert.
Right. Imagine, say, climate change research. You might have a brilliant scientist with complex computer models predicting sea level rise based on vast data sets. That's the Englishman, essential knowledge, but abstract.
Right.
Then you have an indigenous fisherman on a remote Alaskan coast. someone whose family has lived there for generations. They might not know the exact CO2 parts per million, but they know the ice is different, the migration patterns are shifted, the timing of the thaw is wrong, based on decades of lived embodied experience. That's Santiago learning the desert's language.
One has the theory, the other has the deep, intuitive understanding born from direct connection.
Exactly. And Coelho clearly values the latter more highly on the path to the personal legend. The Englishman, for all his books, is frustrated, unable to make progress. Santiago, simply by observing and being present, starts to grasp the deeper principles.
But it's not just about this contrast, is it? The caravan experience itself is important.
Hugely important. The emotional turning point here, as the source notes, is the development of camaraderie in this harsh environment. Sharing stories around the fire at night, facing the dangers of tribal wars and the unforgiving landscape together, it bridges worlds.
It turns isolation into connection.
Yes. These people from different backgrounds with different goals are united by the shared journey, the shared rhythm of the caravan. It creates this warm thread of unlikely camaraderie. Santiago learns patience from the caravan leader, learns about the desert's dangers, and learns about different ways of pursuing goals from the Englishman, even if it's what not to do.
So friendship, community, shared experience, these become unexpected treasures found along the way.
Absolutely. The journey isn't just about the destination, it's about the connections forged, the wisdom gained from fellow travelers, and the internal growth spurred by the environment itself. The desert starts teaching Santiago in ways the fields of Andalusia never could.
He's really evolving now, shedding the shepherd identity more and more.
He is. He's becoming someone who understands the world through listening, not just seeing.
Like, subscribe, and share for more update, and continue to next. Hashtag tag 3.2 Oasis Flames and Fatima's Gaze, love at the desert's heart. The caravan journey is long, arduous, dangerous, but eventually they reach their destination, or at least a major waypoint, the oasis of Al Fayoum.
Yes, this huge, lush area in the middle of the desert, teeming with live palm trees, wells, thousands of people. It's supposed to be neutral territory, a safe haven, even though tribal wars are raging in the desert outside.
A paradise after the harshness of the desert crossing.
It seems like it. But it's also a place where the journey could potentially stall again. And it's where Santiago encounters perhaps the biggest test to his personal legend so far.
Bigger than losing all his money. Bigger than the fear embodied by the critic sergeant.
Arguably, yes. Because this test comes in the form of love. He meets Fatima.
Ah, Fatima. Tell us about her.
He sees her at one of the wells. She's a young woman of the desert, veiled. But he's captivated instantly, primarily by her eyes. He feels immediately that he loves her. That his whole journey, Melchizedek, the stones, the desert, all of it led him to this moment, to her.
Love at first sight in the middle of the Sahara.
Pretty much. And the feeling seems mutual. They start meeting, talking. There's this incredibly powerful connection, a sense of peace and belonging he hasn't felt before. The oasis with Fatima represents safety, home, contentment, a future.
Okay, I can see the conflict brewing. He's supposed to be going to the pyramids, chasing treasure, fulfilling his legend.
And suddenly, he finds a treasure right here, in the oasis. A treasure of the heart. The emotional turning point is precisely this. Love blooms, this incredibly sweet surrender to connection, but it immediately clashes with his wanderlust, his destiny. His heart is pulled hard in two directions. Stay here, build a life with Fatima in this safe haven. Or leave her, leave this newfound happiness, and continue the perilous journey towards an uncertain goal.
That's a brutal choice. What does Fatima represent in this? Is she a temptation, an obstacle?
That's what makes this so brilliant. She could be seen that way, but she isn't written that way. The key idea here is crucial. True love, the kind that aligns with the soul of the world, frees you to chase your dreams. It doesn't chain you to safety.
How does Fatima embody that?
Because she is a woman of the desert, she understands its ways, its demands. She understands that men must leave, must follow the omens, must pursue their paths. She doesn't cling. She doesn't ask him to stay.
Really? She just lets him go.
She essentially tells him, the desert takes our men away and they don't always return. We learn to live with that. If I'm really a part of your dream, you'll come back one day. She understands that his pursuing his personal legend is essential to who he is. If he stayed for her, abandoning his quest, he would eventually resent her and the love would sour.
Wow. That's incredibly wise and selfless.
It's a radical model of love, especially compared to possessive or fearful models. True love, in Coelho's view, supports the beloved's destiny, even if it means separation. It trusts the universe, trusts the connection.
This feels like such a powerful message for modern relationships, as the source suggests, balancing careers, dreams, individual paths.
Absolutely. Think about that U.S. analogy of dual high-powered careers. Partner A gets a dream job offer across the country. Partner B faces the choice. Demand partner A stay, potentially breeding resentment, or support the move, trusting the relationship can endure the distance or the change, because partner A fulfilling their potential is ultimately good for both of them.
Fatima chooses the latter. She becomes a
Yeah.
source of strength, not an anchor.
Exactly. She becomes part of the conspiracy, helping him achieve his legend rather than an obstacle to it. Her faith in him and in their connection actually fuels his determination to continue and return.
So love isn't the enemy of the personal legend. It's potentially its greatest ally if it's the right kind of love.
That's the core teaching here. Fatima's presence, her understanding, teaches Santiago and us that love at its best is the wind beneath our wings, propelling us towards our highest selves, not holding us back in the comfortable nest.
It's a test he passes then. He chooses to continue the journey, but now with the promise of return.
Yes. But his time in the oasis isn't over. He has one more crucial role to play there, one that will lead him directly to the figure the Englishman seeks, the alchemist.
Like, subscribe, and share for more update, and continue to next. Hashtag tag 3.3, The Alchemist's Fire and Soul of the World, Trials with the Master. So Santiago has found love with Fatima, but he's committed to continuing his journey. How does he end up meeting the legendary alchemist?
It happens because he starts truly applying what he learned in the desert about reading the omens, the language of the world. He's observing the flight of hawks one day over the oasis.
Just bird watching.
Not just bird watching. He sees the hawks attacking each other, and suddenly he has this visceral, overwhelming vision. An army riding into the oasis, breaking the code of neutrality, attacking the inhabitants.
Whoa, a premonition.
A clear, undeniable vision, an omen delivered through nature. He's shaken, but he remembers Melchizedek's words about trusting the signs. He overcomes his fear of being disbelieved or punished and decides to warn the tribal chieftains of the oasis.
That takes serious courage. They could dismiss him, or worse, accuse him of spying or inciting panic.
They're initially very skeptical, but they heed his warning, prepare their defenses, and sure enough, the next day, an army attacks the oasis exactly as Santiago foresaw.
Oh.
Because they were prepared, the oasis defenders win the battle decisively.
So Santiago saved the oasis.
He did. His ability to read the omens had a direct life-saving impact. And this act doesn't go unnoticed. A mysterious, powerful figure on horseback, dressed in black with a falcon on his shoulder, seeks him out that evening.
The alchemist.
The alchemist himself. He tests Santiago immediately, holding a curved sword to his forehead, questioning his courage, his understanding of the language of the world. Santiago, though terrified, stands his ground, speaking about his personal legend.
He passes the test.
He passes the test. The alchemist recognizes that Santiago is the disciple he's been waiting for, someone who understands the world intuitively, not just through books like The Englishman. And so begins Santiago's true apprenticeship.
What does the alchemist teach him? Is it about making gold?
That's part of the lore, but the real teaching is far deeper. The alchemist becomes his guide for the final, most transformative leg of the journey. He teaches Santiago about alchemy as the process of refining oneself, of achieving oneness with the soul of the world.
The soul of the world, we touched on that. Can you explain it more?
The alchemist elaborates. It's the anima mundi, the fundamental spiritual intelligence that flows through everything: rocks, plants, animals, people, the wind, the desert, the stars. It's the unifying force. He teaches that everything has its own personal legend, even inanimate objects, and that fulfilling your own legend contributes to the purification and evolution of the entire soul of the world.
That's a huge concept. How does he teach this? Through lectures?
No, through direct, often terrifying experiences. The mentorship is intense. They leave the oasis together, heading towards the pyramids, but the lessons involve facing desert storms, navigating through warring tribes, and confronting deep-seated fears. The alchemist pushes Santiago relentlessly.
This sounds like the ultimate crucible. The source mentions the boy burning away, birthing a warrior.
That's the perfect description. The emotional turning point here is this complete final transformation. Santiago faces tests that strip away all his remaining naivety, all his reliance on external help. It's pure exhilaration mixed with terror. He has to learn to trust his connection to the soul of the world. Absolutely.
And this leads to the most famous scene in the book, right? Turning himself into the wind?
Yes. They are captured by a hostile desert tribe. The alchemist, in a seemingly reckless move, tells the tribal chief that Santiago is a powerful magician who can turn himself into the wind and will demonstrate it in 3 days to prove his power and save their lives.
But Santiago can't actually do that.
Not yet. He's terrified, protests to the alchemist that he has no idea how. The alchemist simply tells him that his fear is the only thing holding him back. He must speak the language of the world. He must converse with the elements.
So the alchemist basically throws him into the ultimate sink-or-swim test. Life or death based on achieving this impossible feat.
Exactly. For 3 days, Santiago meditates, tries to communicate. He speaks to the desert, asking for help. The desert says it can offer its sands, but not become the wind itself. It directs him to speak to the wind.
He talks to the wind.
He talks to the wind. The wind is curious, powerful, but says it doesn't know how to turn a boy into itself. It suggests he speak to the sun, the source of wisdom.
Okay, this is getting epic. He speaks to the sun.
He speaks to the sun. The sun understands alchemy, love, the soul of the world, but says even it cannot turn Santiago into the wind. It advises him to speak directly to the hand that wrote it all.
To God. To the source of creation.
Yes. And in that moment of silent prayer, of complete surrender and connection, Santiago understands. He understands his own oneness with the soul of the world, his connection to the hand that wrote it all. And for a moment, he becomes the wind. A furious desert storm, a sirocco, engulfs the camp, terrifying the tribesmen. When it subsides, Santiago is standing on the far side of the encampment.
He did it. He actually did it.
He achieved the impossible by realizing his own inherent connection to everything, by overcoming his fear and accessing the soul of the world directly. It's the pinnacle of his transformation.
This is so far beyond just finding treasure.
Miles beyond. This is where the source's point about modern makeovers versus ancient wisdom really hits home. In our world of quick fixes, AI life coaches, weekend workshops promising instant transformation.
This scene demands deep, terrifying internal work. There are no shortcuts.
None. Compare it to that U.S. analogy. The master craftsperson, the elite athlete. Their skill looks effortless, almost magical, but it's built on years, decades of grueling practice, failure, intuition honed through relentless application. Not just reading manuals or watching videos, the alchemist forces Santiago to embody that deep ancient wisdom, not just understand it intellectually.
He's truly forged Santiago into something new, a master in his own right.
He has. The alchemist becomes this blazing mentor, showing that the path to inner gold, to fulfilling the legend, requires facing the fire, embracing the trials, and ultimately realizing your unity with the universe. Santiago's finally ready for the pyramids.
Like, subscribe, and share for more update, and continue to next. So Santiago, guided by the alchemist, transformed by his trials, finally reaches his destination, the pyramids of Egypt, the place from his recurring dream.
Yes. After all the deserts, the dangers, the learning, the love, the magic, he stands before them. The alchemist leaves him shortly before, telling him his own journey lies elsewhere now. Santiago is alone again, ready to claim his treasure.
He must be feeling triumphant, right? Vindicated.
You'd think so. He starts digging in the spot near the pyramids that he saw in his dream. He digs all night, exhausted but driven.
And he finds the gold.
No. Instead, he's accosted by refugees, escapees from the tribal wars. They see him digging, assume he's burying something. They beat him savagely, demanding the gold he must be hiding.
Oh no, not again. After everything he's been through.
It's brutal. They find the small piece of gold the alchemist gave him earlier, but they believe there must be more. Santiago, beaten, desperate, finally cries out the truth that he came all this way because he had a recurring dream about finding treasure buried here at the pyramids.
He tells them about the dream.
He does. And the robbers mock him, call him an idiot for crossing a desert because of a dream. But then the leader of the refugees pauses. He says something incredible.
What does he say?
He says, "You're not going to die. You'll live, and you'll learn that a man shouldn't be so stupid." Then he tells Santiago that 2 years ago, he had a recurring dream right on this very spot.
The robber had a dream too.
Yes. A dream telling him to travel to Spain, find a ruined church where a shepherd and his sheep often slept, look for a sycamore tree growing through the ruins, and dig at its roots, where he would find buried treasure.
Wait, that's the church where Santiago started, where he had his first dream.
Exactly. The robber laughs, saying he wasn't stupid enough to cross the desert just because of a dream. And then they leave Santiago, beaten and penniless once again, but alive.
My mind is blown. The treasure was back home all along.
All along, under the sycamore tree where his journey began. This is the final, stunning twist, the ultimate omen, delivered through the cruelty of a robber.
How does Santiago react? Is he devastated? Does he feel like the whole journey was pointless?
That's the beauty of it. The source calls this the final emotional turning point, the dissolution of his illusions, immediately followed by joyful closure and fresh wonder. He doesn't feel cheated. He laughs.
He laughed.
He laughs because he finally understands the universe's beautiful, intricate, sometimes ironic conspiracy. He understands that the physical treasure was real, but its location was secondary. The journey itself was the point. Everything he learned, everyone he met, the transformation he underwent, that was the true treasure. The gold was just the catalyst, the excuse for the journey.
So the key idea is, the journey's end reveals the start.
Perfectly put. Fulfilling the dream circles you back, but you return transformed. You see the ordinary, the familiar starting point, with entirely new eyes, the eyes that have seen the desert, learned the language of the world, turned into the wind. The real treasure wasn't the gold itself, but the wisdom and resilience required to find it, which could only be gained by leaving home in the first place.
This feels incredibly profound, especially thinking about that modern context, the auditing our own personal legends post-pandemic idea from the source.
It resonates so strongly. How many people chase external markers of success, the high-powered job in a faraway city, fame, extreme travel driven by a sense of lack or a need for validation?
A lot of people.
And sometimes, after achieving those things or burning out trying, they have that moment of clarity. They realize the deep connection, the simple joy, the overlooked opportunity, maybe starting a small business serving their local community, or developing a talent they ignored for years, or repairing relationships they neglected, was waiting right there, back home, all along.
That U.S. analogy fits perfectly. The person who travels the world seeking wisdom only to realize the most valuable insights were reflected in their own family history or local environment, which they couldn't appreciate before the journey.
Exactly. You often need the contrast, the struggle, the perspective gained from the foreign to truly see the value in the familiar. Santiago needed the alchemist's wisdom, Fatima's love, the merchant's warning, Melchizedek's push, even the thief's cruelty, to become the person capable of recognizing and unearthing the treasure that was literally under his sleeping spot the whole time.
So Coelho closes the circle perfectly. It's not about regretting the journey. It's about understanding that the journey qualifies you to receive the reward that was waiting at the origin.
Masterful grace, as the source says. He leaves Santiago and us forever changed, forever attuned to the potential magic, the potential treasure, hidden in our own backyards, in the seemingly ordinary places we start from.
It's a call to look at our own lives with new eyes.
Absolutely. What treasure lies buried under your own sycamore tree, only visible after you've undertaken your own journey?
Like, subscribe, and share for more update, and continue to next. #outro.
Wow. What a journey, not just for Santiago, but for us, diving this deep into the layers of the alchemist. It's just packed with so much practical wisdom when you unpack it, chapter by chapter like this.
It really is. And synthesizing it, you see these major milestones clearly, don't you? First, overcoming that initial inertia, that fear of change, embodied by the crystal merchant and Santiago's decision to leave his flock.
Right. Them valuing direct, intuitive experience over just theory, the lesson from the caravan and the contrast with the Englishman. That feels huge in our information-saturated age. Huge. Then navigating that critical balance between love and destiny, the way Fatima teaches that true love supports the personal legend, it doesn't hinder it. That's a relationship goal right there.
Totally. And finally, enduring that intense, necessary transformation under the alchemist's guidance, facing the fire to connect with the soul of the world.
And it all circles back to that final revelation. The treasure, the fulfillment, is often found where you began. But you can only recognize it, only be worthy of it, after the journey transforms you. It's that nexus of the familiar and the foreign.
So we've walked through the map provided by the source material, this chapter-by-chapter breakdown. The goal, as we said at the start, was to provide a shortcut to understanding these core principles.
Exactly. And now the focus shifts to you, the listener. Having heard this deep dive, what clicks for you? What have you learned, or maybe remembered, about your own routines, your own comfort zones, those whispers you might be ignoring?
Have you recognized any potential omens in your own life while listening? Those little synchronicities, those unexpected encounters or insights?
Because the principles are clear now. You understand the concept of the personal legend, the universal conspiracy that supports committed action, the importance of resilience, the language of omens. The map has been laid out.
The work now is recognizing the signs in your own world. And having the courage to act on them with that same kind of ferocious commitment Santiago eventually developed.
It's about moving from understanding the story to living its principles.
Absolutely. That was the mission here, not just to analyze a book, but to unlock its practical philosophy, hoping it sparks something for you.
So let's leave you with one final provocative thought to mull over, something to carry forward from this discussion, building directly on that idea of the universe conspiring to help you.
Okay, lay it on us.
If you accept, even just hypothetically, that the universe is actively trying to guide you towards your personal legend, and if you accept that the ultimate destination, the treasure, is already known to the universe, waiting for you, then what is the one specific thing, maybe a belief, a habit, a relationship, a job, a fear that you are still holding on to right now, primarily out of fear? What is the one sheep you haven't sold, or the one crystal shop you refuse to leave that might be preventing you from receiving or even noticing the very next omen the universe is trying to send you?
Wow, that's a powerful question to sit with. What needs to be let go of to make space for the next step?
Exactly. What needs to be released to open yourself up to the conspiracy of help that's waiting? Think about that.